champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here, interviewing the best professionals in the in the game, in the boardroom, covering it all, laughing at it all, while providing a platform to be heard. So, listeners, you know what we do about this time. We have to welcome in our guests, and there's no other way to do it but then just to say this hooper has always been a winner, all right? So from taking her high school Hilltoppers to the championship, to winning the Big Ten Conference, and even bringing home the medals in the U.S. Olympic team time, all right? So the 19th overall pick in the WNBA draft, she's helped not only her pro team here, she's helped her pro team abroad just do nothing but collect wins. So she wants to welcome you to the rebirth, all right? So right here, right now, we want to welcome our new Morgan State Bears women heads coach. Please clap it up for Nadine Domond. Thank you, Coach Domond. Thank you for taking the time. We know it's a long, late day. Absolutely. Yeah. So how we start the show, Coach, as we start the show with a shoot your shot moment, all right? This is where you went for it, right? You bet on yourself. You said, you know what, I'm gonna take this chance, and during that time, you learned a lesson, you know, or you made a big gain. So it could have been anywhere, either during your school, your career days, or coaching right now. But give us that shoot your shot moment.
I think I shot myself. I shot my shot when I woke up every day in Bridgeport, Connecticut, playing against the kids in my neighborhood. I think they the one that kind of like set the bar and set the tone. I think if anybody know about Bridgeport, I'm Bridgeport strong, Bridgeport tough, and Wicked Boys and Girls Club. So I think, I think that growing on the east side of Bridgeport kind of like had no choice but to shoot my shot every day because I had to figure it out.
It is.
So, Coach, is that where your love for sports started?
I think my love for sports started because I just was the neighborhood. Back then kids played outside a lot. So we did everything, like in that one day we went from baseball to flag football, two-hand touch to basketball, back to shooting pool, hanging out, laughing, and do the whole cycle again that day. I have to really credit my childhood, growing up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, because growing up on the east side and Boys and Girls Club, and so many people poured into me. I just am super thankful because all those friends I had, Larry, Jimmy, you name them, they were super, super important and crucial in developing me and never letting me settle to be regular. We were all trying to be great, every day. And, and look at us now, right?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up a lot in the Boys and Girls Club. My dad used to operate some youth programs out of the Boys and Girls Club, so I totally understand. There's a lot of opportunities that you get in the Boys and Girls Club with different sports and just different activities. But what was it about basketball that made you stick to that, or was there another love that you had previously to basketball?
I think, and growing up in the Boys and Girls Club, right? So like that day, if you get, that's where I learned how to shoot pool. That's where I learned how to swim. That's where I learned to create friends. And I think because it was a cycle and it was a time, whatever we did, I just wanted to get better. And I just wanted to beat the Eddies, and I wanted to beat the Vaughns and the Dee and the kids that played with me, the Phil Plumbers. And I just think that the competitiveness came with that, right? And you just wanted to be one of the best to play. So my development for the love of the game, I think it came from like watching I'll never forget her name. Like she was like probably the coldest girl in the neighborhood, and she told me, "You got potential." And I was like, "What? What's that?" I was like, "Yo," when I told my friend, I was like, "Yo, I got potential, yo." She told me I got potential. I had no idea what that meant. I'm like, fourth, fifth grade. She's like, "You gonna be good." I'm like, "All right, say less." I'm potential. So I just walked around saying it to my friends Larry and Jimmy for a couple of days, and I had no idea. I just wanted to beat them in everything they did.
Shout out to her for using the word potential in the youth age.
I didn't know. I was like, yo, that sounds real cool right there.
I'll take that one.
She moving like a vet. Yeah.
So, growing up, you said just the playing, being a part of the boys and girls and things like that. What were some of your sports teams? Like how was that kind of growing up, and who chose and who'd you root for?
I think my sport team, shout out to the Knicks. Come on, Knicks, come through tonight. I'm a New York fan, so I've been a New York Knicks fan, a Giants fan, a Mets fan. So, I mean, I think I was able to watch the golden era when we was on the cuff of doing something great, and then watched them struggle over the years. So this is our year. Let's go, Knicks.
It made you very happy, man.
Thank you, Coach. I got the wrong colors on today. I'm at the 9 to 5, but yeah, this is the year. I think this is the year.
And Liberty took it last year, and fellas follow suit. This
is it. This is the
but
year.
I think the community, man. I mean, so many people helped raise me. So for me, they wouldn't allow me to fail. You talk about, God rest his soul, Mr. Jones and Tom Keenan and Mr. Dillard. It was a community back then, right? So many people was raising different other kids. So that's why I think I fell in love with coaching, fell in love with people that kept pouring into other young adults, because they stepped in so many gaps for so many people. So it's a community I grew up in. So I appreciate,
Now, was that the same for high school, pushing that drive? I mean, coming out of high school, just breaking records, just little points here and there, not to brag. But was that same energy kind of going, in Central High? Was that the same kind of makeup? And
I mean, Mr. Fisher found me. He was my high school coach. But I mean, I just it was just the drive to be the best, all of us, we were just competitive. And I just think that everybody wanted to be the best version of themselves every day. It just so happened to be a girl. But even when I was scoring all that, they kept saying, well, that's against girls. You ain't did it against me. And I was like, oh, really? So it was just the drive that they just kept pushing me. And my mother and my grandmother, they just allowed me to be who I am and just let me be what I was doing. And I'm just really thankful, like I could really say I enjoyed my childhood. Like, I didn't know I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I didn't know it was bad until somebody was like, you from Bridgeport? I was like, yeah, why? What's up? What's wrong with that? And I was like, nah, what's wrong? Right. It was just a place I was super, super proud to be a part of, grew up. And to this day, I love that city. I love what it made me and the people around me. I mean, if you ever came to Bridgeport, it was like a big melting pot, because, we had Italians, we had Laos, we had Vietnamese, we had Spanish, we had blacks, we had everybody. So our neighborhood was just like up top. It's just everybody, and everybody was just trying to be the best version of themselves.
So speaking of the best version of yourself, scoring all those points from the lead guard position, give me a little scouting report on your game back in the day. We'll start with high school, but give me a scouting report on your high school game there.
Nah, I just think, I just wanted to win. That was it. I'll never forget, like, we was in the state or some game, and I think Mr. Fisher was like, I was like, forget that play, coach. Give me the ball. That's it. Forget all that. And I don't know what you about to run. Like, give me the ball. We about to win this. We'll put this away. we're not even going to play with these people right now. He was like, what? I was like, give me the ball. He was like, all right. Whatever play she about to run, yeah. And he was so understanding. He knew. Because the thing is, I didn't want to hear, because if we would have lost or anything, I would have had to hear my boys. I had to go back to wherever I was going to hang out the next day. Why you lost? I thought you was good. I thought you was going to do something. I thought y'all was going to win. What happened? So I just remember, like, they're not doing. That's not happening tonight. Not on my clock. So he just allowed me to be who I am.
Hey, that's the essence of MH, the true point guard, right? Like, I got this. I'm gonna take this.
I was Jalen Brunson. I'm scoring 49. I'm Jalen right now. Let's give it a ball.
Let's go. So kind of coming out of high school, talk to us about what the recruiting journey was like. Was it a big scouting thing? Was it somewhere you're like, what, this is where I want to go? Like, how did you end up being a Hawkeye?
Coach Stringer. Coach C, Vivian Stringer. I mean,
wow,
just an amazing woman. I don't think she gets talked a lot enough. We're
gonna bring that up,
because like, I'm coming from Connecticut, right? I'm the number one point guard in the country. I'm number one in my position, you know, and shout out to Gino, shout out to Coach Hatchell at that time and Coach. Every school came to my house, you know, everybody came to my school, but Coach Stringer was just different, right? And I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. She walked in the door, and like to some kids that's listening, she's like the Dawn Staley of that time. Like she was the original, the OG. She loves Dawn, by the way. You know, her and Dawn are extremely close. And she walked in that house, and I recognized, like, I want to be like her. I want to be a boss like her. I mean, when she walked in the room, she just commanded, like, excellence, right? And no different from my mother when she used to walk in the room and be like, yo, you better get this house right. You better, you know what I'm saying? But the way she did it, right? And the way she handled it, I was like, yo, I want to be just like her. And I want to play for her. And I want to win for her. And that's basically how I end up being a Hawkeye.
The Hall of Famer, C. Vivian Stringer. I mean,
like 1,000 win, but probably could have won more, but would teach a lesson, would lose a game trying to prove a point. Like, be like, oh, you think I will lose this game? You think you? Nah, she has taught. Like, what I love the most about her, and so many things that she has taught, is that they are transferable. They are life lessons, right? So if you cheat here, you're gonna cheat in life, right? If you're lazy here, you're gonna be lazy when it counts. And so she used to be like, you want to be a doctor? You cheating now? If you cheat now, you're gonna cheat in the nursing, you know, you're gonna cheat in the operating room. Instead of giving me 3 stitches, you're gonna give me 1. Then I'm gonna die because of an infection because you lazy. Nah, I'm not doing that. So she'll call that, like, she'll call whatever that is that she's trying to become, and she'll be like, you got, you know, better, do better, do better. You got more to give.
You said, I saw in another interview that you had, that she was really tough on the point guards. And so being a point guard, playing for a coach that is that legendary, just take us back to that experience. You know, some of the highs, some of the, you know, the challenges with that as well.
I mean, I mean, you got to think about, like, Cappy Pondex had played for one of the greats, Natasha Pointer. You're talking about, you name him, you know, Kalia Copper, Benaja Laney, Tyler Scaife. So she knows what it looks like. You know, you talk about Yolanda Laney, one of the best players ever to come out of HBCU at Cheney. Her daughter, Benaja Laney, that plays for New York Liberty. I mean, you know you're good when they let you, when you send the baby back to the coach that coached you, right? And I used to be like, and she'd be like, you are my mind in action. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not your mind. And she was like, you are responsible for everything. You should know everything. And she's like, you are my mind. You are my pen out there. So she's like, if anything happened, it is your fault. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, the game runs through you.
Yes.
You know, if you come in sloppy, we are going to, everything is based on how you perform, in that sense of you set the tone, right? So she was never playing checkers, right? She always like, it's a chess move. You got to see it before, right? 2 or 3 passes ahead. And so when I was able to, like, play for her and then work for her, then I see her play all 142 possessions a night before the game. Like, she knew exactly what she was going to hit, how she was going to hit, what she was going to do. I was like, oh, I get it now. So, like, she was just a brilliant, like, ahead of her time. I mean, she's the one that started with, if you think about it, Nicole Tunsil, right? And 6'1", 6'2" point guard before it was even a thing. She was just always thinking before, you know, it was a trend. So I think I've been blessed. I've been really, really blessed, I have to say. And then I've been able to coach under Pat Bibbs. And my story is really unfair because I've been around some great people.
Not unfair. We'll take it as a blessing, right? Like, that's
sure.
That's a little different. So, my bad, make sure you're going back into the college days.
Yeah, just a little bit. I was just, you know, even from a personal standpoint, coming from Connecticut, where you said there was a melting pot of cultures. I would imagine Iowa. I haven't been to the campus, but I'm sure it's a little different. So, so how was that adjusting to that?
I think the wonderful thing, right? I played AAU for the Connecticut Starters, so I used to go up to, you know, the northern part of Connecticut a lot and had some good people, some good friends. And my church was Italian, right? And my church was, so going to Iowa wasn't a big thing because our team was really well balanced, right? And we was a family. We were a sisterhood. So you talk about the people on my team, Karen Clayton, that coach at Duke, Tia Jackson, Duke, Shannon Perry at UCLA. So just a great array of talented young women coming together to do something special. And so I was able to, see different things, appreciate different things. I remember the time I tried to take my test out there and they had a tractor trailer. I was like, what you want me to do with that? Like, what you want me to do? And it's like, ma'am, there's a tractor trailer. We don't have tractor trailers in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We're not doing that. So, it was just a culture shock, but man, was it so worth it, right? Because it helped me when I got a chance to go overseas, play overseas. So all those things so transferable to life, and the ability to adapt and to adjust is so key. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. If you can do that, you will be okay.
And definitely sports helps with that. People don't get that so often, right? There's so many transferable skills or adversity or things that you learn just going through playing the game that's, synonymous with the game of life. And I know you know that as a coach.
Yeah.
Now, getting into, looks like you continue to have the green light. So from high school into college, you had the green light where you were like the leading 3-point shooter, steals, you were just doing your thing. Now I know the game's changed a little bit.
It changed, and Caitlin broke everything. Thanks to Caitlin. Caitlin and a couple other people came behind.
Caitlin before Caitlin even knew
she
was there.
Yeah. I was trying to shoot every time. Yeah.
So how was that? Like, is that just the change of the offense? Like, you had the two, you had the legendary coach there, and then she left after your second season.
And so our first year.
Oh, first year, yeah. So what was that kind of style changing and development of your game from getting a different coach and into the high school level?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Coach Stringer would have stayed. I think we would have won a national championship.
Let's go.
But a lot of people don't know, like, she lost her husband the year before. And if you ever listen to her story, like, get the book. Like, It's really one of the dopest things, because I don't know how she did it. And I think that's also how she showed us how to have strength. Like 7 of the top 10 kids in the country decided to go to one school. You talking about Tangela Smith that won the national championship, associate head at Northwestern. You talking about Malika Willis, the head coach at UMES. Like, Tiffany Gooden, one of the premier lawyers in Indiana. Angela Hamlin, like, just one of the best players to ever come out of, from Gary. So when you're talking about 7 of the top 10 players and she decides to leave, and we decided, and she taught us, like, sisterhood matter, right? And it was the era, it was the time that, you made a decision, you made a commitment, you stuck with it, and we stuck together. And for the next 3 years, we just navigated through some uncharted water with the assistant coach and Coach Lee, and help her win the national AP Coach of the Year. But I think the game itself is still the same, because Coach would say, I've seen this before, Now, is it quicker, faster? Yes, but the fundamentals never change. Kobe said that all the time. Michael said all the time. The base is the base. The foundation is the foundation. Now, you can get crafty with it. But, I was, and one, but, if you grew up top, you're going up down the Rutgers. You're going down to the park. So the stuff people were doing, it was like people been doing it. They just allow you to do it in the game. Because if I was like, Coach, let me do that. She'd be like, I wish you would.
You'd be sitting right over here with me.
You'd be right here. We're not doing that. But I think going through college and being with some sisters that we've been together for a very long time and watching the game develop, I think is no better time to be a female student athlete, no better time to be a female athlete in general, right? Like, because you're talking about people that came out of Iowa was like Michelle Edwards, like one of the greatest to ever play. So, I'm shouting out a whole lot of people just because it's just been, I was lucky enough to watch the golden era. Like, you talking about Gino, you're talking about K.R., you're talking about people in their prime, and then watching a new plethora of new coaches. And look, I'm one of them now, right? I'm in that realm with them. But it's just been a joy to watch the game develop and grow, and just excited about where it's going.
Love that. And so with that, we are going to get into the game. This is where we get into your career aspect. And, we do want to start with a little bit of your playing days and just, as we get into the involvement. But how was it to be picked in the draft, right? Like of this newly formed league, right? Like it's just getting going, the excitement, the buzz around it. You have potential.
Yeah, I do. I have potential, right?
You all the way to the WNBA draft. So kind of talk to us about what that feeling was like to be drafted.
I'll be honest with you, I was
Liberty, right?
watching, like when I got the call, I was watching cartoons. I was chilling. I didn't even know. I was like chilling. I think I was watching The Simpsons or something. I knew I was doing something. There's like, yo, Nadine. I was like, what's up? Oh, you just got drafted. I was like, all right, cool. And I just hung up. Like it was like nothing. Like I knew. Like that's how weird I was, right? It was like, okay, that was supposed to happen. Because when I'm growing up, I'm telling my friends, yo, I'm gonna be the first girl in the league. I'm gonna be the first girl in the league, and they're like, yeah, right, whatever. So to me, and then when they had the WNBA, and I was like, oh, okay, we could do that, and they called me, and I think it was the second or third. It was the second season, I believe. Second season, they called me. I got drafted, and I didn't know how big of a moment it was. I was just being a college kid, like, all right, cool, and all right, thanks, all right, see you, all right, I just got drafted, okay, all right. And
what time I need to be there? Oh, okay.
Because I'm about to graduate. Because the thing is, right, I'm about to graduate. I'm just like, okay, season's over. You about to get drafted, and I'm like, and I'm going to New York. Heaven. Like it don't get no better than that. And so, and there I met like probably some of the best people. Right, you talking about Trina Trice Hill that. To be honest with you, she's the whole reason I'm in coaching right now, right? The whole reason, because I wasn't trying to coach. And she was my teammate at that time. And, basketball, you know how it is. You play in the summer, then you go overseas. And you go play in the summer, you go overseas. And it was one year I'm playing in France, and she's like on the other team. And we, I end up hanging out with her. I'm at her house all the time because, you have time, yep. Basketball and energy. She's like, yo, I'm going into coaching. I'm like, yeah, go do that. Go ahead, like have a good time with that. Like we on the Champs-Élysées. Like we on the Champs-Élysées. You think I'm gonna get? No, I'm good. She's like, no, you should come. I'm like, I'm not doing that. One thing led to another. And next thing I know, I'm at Hampton University, and Trina got me in the background, and I meet Coach Patricia Cage Bibbs, and she allowed me. I was a student manager. I don't even think I got paid that year. But it was the best atmosphere ever because, I went to a PWI. So now I'm at, Hampton first game, and it's against the Battle of the Sea or something against Norfolk. I'm like, oh, that's what they do here. Oh, I'm not leaving. Oh, they stuck with me. And then next thing I know, I'm with Coach Cage Bibb for 2 years, and keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a part of the W in this first 2 years of existence, you being a part of that league. I was a fan of. I've been a fan of the W since its inception. And so what I liked about it was like a clash of. Clash is the wrong word, but there was a lot of different eras those first couple of years. So from Lisa Leslie to
you talking about Cynthia
Cooper,
Coop was like for real. She I don't think people know how cold Coop was. Like Coop was legit. Like I think that's the unfair part, right? But I think that it's probably a whole lot of great football players prior to NFL players now, and there's probably a lot of great basketball players there that you see right now. Right. But you talking about Cynthia Cooper, you talking about Lisa, you talking about Tina Thompson, you talking about Cheryl, you talking about a plethora of like levels to it, right? And they were just different. And former players that used to play overseas, Michelle Edwards, and they all come back. And now we don't gotta go overseas, and we can stay here and play in front of our families. And I mean, that first 2 years, I think it was something else that year, right? It was just like, wow, like we really are doing something amazing, and to watch it grow the way it is, and then you're watching like Dawn Staley was part of that, right? Like you're talking about Dawn, like you name them, they were in it, right? If you could ball, you had an opportunity to be part of something special. And then you're watching Caitlin take the game even. Let's credit her. Let's credit what credit is due, right? Able to take the game and elevate it even more. And then you got Asia Wilson and Leah Boston, Kalia Copper. So it's been a great sight to see the game.
How did it feel like Teresa Witherspoon picking you up full court? And then you fight over screen.
Like honestly, she was probably that was probably the hardest armbar. I was like, yo, why can't I move? Like, and she'd be like, yo, I got you. I'm like,
in the garden.
In the garden. No, but I'm talking about she got me like that in practice. And I'm like, why can't I move, man? Like, this ain't college right here. This is different in teach.
Yeah.
Like, come on, youngin. And I'd be like, all right. But she was amazing. You talking about, man, it's a plethora of them, right? Kim Hampton. It's so many. It's so many.
I just got chills thinking about that, man. Just that time, right, of all you guys collective together.
Keep in mind, I was young. Like I was young.
Too,
they were the old heads. So you walk in, you be like, and they coming in with that. They speaking Italian, they speaking French, they speaking on. You like what? What you say? And they just, but I mean, they were just a league of their own. I mean, they were just different. And I mean, you can't put it into words, right? It's just an experience that you have to experience, and watching it and be part of it was just amazing.
Go ahead, Mitch.
So you mentioned some of the countries that you played in. How does that influence your, overall philosophy now when you got into, as you're coaching teams?
Well, I think you have to start looking due to the transfer portal. You got to look at it like overseas, right? The roster is going to change every year or two, every year. You probably have a core 1 or 2 kids, and then every year, because when you're overseas, I played in Poland this year. Next year, I'm in Israel. Next year, I'm in France. The next following year, I'm somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So you start looking at the league and coaching styles like that now. And if you take that approach, you'll be okay, because it's no longer, it's not to say relationships don't matter, because I think you can stay with a club for 2 or 3 years overseas, right? But based on everything's changing and people and styles and what people want, you have to approach it that way. And I was able to, and I think that's what I'm looking at it like that. Like, I'm overseas, and if I get you for 2 years, it's a blessing. I get you for 4 is a blessing. But I always have to be on the lookout how we develop this team, because that's one thing I've learned from overseas. Like, you get a new coach, new players, younger players leave, play in different clubs. So you got to redevelop and fit your style of play for what you're trying to get done every year.
Now, that's a big nugget, right? Like, to look at it like that, because I don't think, for the novice, for myself, I'll just speak for, just to think about that's really what's happening overseas, right? Like, when you play, you're on a team for 2 or 3 years, and then you're, depending on the contract or whatever's going on, that's the weight of college right now. So thanks for sharing that, Jim, because I didn't even think about looking at it like that.
Yeah, just look at it. Like, think about it. Because, think about it. You go overseas, you play in Russia one day, you play in Poland one day. Then the next club, you got another club. New system, new coach, new players. And the young players that they developed probably growing up no longer play for them, got picked up to go somewhere else. And so if you were counting on that kid, you can't. So I think you just got to look at it in the European style and then look at it like that and approach it like that. Then you'll understand and you'll respect the process a lot more, and don't take it as personal.
Personal. Wow. That's for sure. All right. So, Tina called you out and was like, hey, you got to come into this coaching. And so you're up in Hampton and you're adjusting. You're like, okay, I can do this. And, you work,
the band that got me, the band. You got to understand, I came from a PWI.
So the band got you hooked.
The band got me. I'm used to dun 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 dun, and I was like dun 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 dun. Oh, what did y'all? And they playing your jam. They playing your jam in the middle of the timeout. And you young, you like, I know they ain't my cut. Yo, stay focused. Hey, remember that L cut. Like, remember that.
So that got you hooked, right?
Your
so
ability.
You know what? I'm gonna stack it. Go. You know what? Now I'm gonna go to Grambling.
What?
You said I'm gonna take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So you get the opportunity. So how does Grambling come up? And this is your first opportunity to be head coach, right? So talk to us about that. And I know it's the band, but talk to us
honestly,
to get that.
Honestly, I love. I think I stayed at Hampton for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked with Nike Skill Academy. I worked with Gannon Baker, and I did a couple of trainings. Like, I was doing training. Like, that's the one thing I love about the journey. I was doing training before training was cool. So I was the female Gannon Baker. I was developing kids. I used to stay in the gym. But it was crazy because I tell people, you never know who's watching you. I got my job 10 years prior to coming to Grambling because I was on my own and training and developing kids for years. You know, you talk about Elizabeth Williams, Mark Williams that's in the league. So I was 757 working with Boo Williams, John Lucas. So I had I'm working with like I'm just going around training and enjoying the process of developing young people and doing what
You
I
had
do.
your own training company at that time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool part, when I worked at Hampton, and I wasn't getting paid. I don't think I got paid no more than $5,000 a year, whatever. But I came from overseas, so I was that. You would think I was getting paid all the money in the world. And Coach Bibbs used to just watch me. I worked my butt off. I was in the gym, came to work, took care of my business, handled. She did anything she wanted. I was just like, yo, you need it. So not knowing that I was interviewing for a job later down the line, because Grambling comes in 10 years later down the line with Patricia Cage Bibb being introduced as the AD at Grambling. She calls me up, right? And I'm like, I think I'm in Myrtle Beach or something. And they always want to call me when I'm having a good time, right? And I'm in Myrtle Beach. And she's like, Coach, I think I'm training something. I think I'm doing a camp. And she said, Coach, I'm looking for a coach. I'm like, yeah, you need to call such and such. You need to call such and such. Yeah, you need to do that. You know, you need to call. Yeah, I think they'd be real good. She's like, nah, I don't want them, Coach. I want you. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I want you, Coach. I said, Coach, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm out of that. You know, I did that. It was fun. I did that. You know, I got a training company. I'm doing well financially. I'm running around the country, developing kids. I'm good. She's like, no. And then she was like, you know, let's take yourself to the next level. And so I tell people all the time, you never know who you're interviewing for, who you're working for, because I never complained. I never said we couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? We just, just figure out the way. And that's one thing Coach Stringer used to say, like, you play the hand that you dealt with and you play it to win. And honestly, that's what happened. And going to Grambling, sight unseen. She was like, you coming? I was like, where's Grambling? She's like, and I was like, can I come out there? She said, she knew me. She knew better too. She said, what you need to come out here for? You got me. I said, yeah, you're right. But she's like, trust me. You think I want to come anywhere? And next thing I know, I'm coaching at Grambling, and I'm like, I'm in Northeast Louisiana, right outside Ruston. I'm like, okay. And the rest is history. And Grambling speaks for itself. The G stands for so many things, right? But one thing they're going to tell you, G stands for God. And it stands for greatness.
Let's go.
They love the G. And I was there for, I don't know, like 2 years. And then Mama called me. And I had the records.
So how does that call go, right? So
how did that go? Yeah.
So now you coming off Grambling, Coach of the Year honors, right?
Yeah.
At Grambling. So you're like, everybody wants to own their own, build their own. So now you're running the ship, head coach, Coach of the Year. And like you said, I'm on calls, man. So how did that go?
Well, I had Chicago Hill, shout out to Coach David Pierre. We had Chicago Hill, freshman of the year, and Jasmine Boyd. We snatching up kids. And Coach Mama called, hey, Nadine, how you doing? You know how she do it all smooth. Like, she real smooth with it. What you doing, sweetie? I'm doing all right, Coach. Hey, that's good. Well, I'll see you next Thursday. I said, what you talking about? I'll see you next Thursday. All right. Talk to you later. Click. All right. I get a ticket. We bring you in. I said, what? Yeah, we bring you in. I was like, all right. And when Mama called, at that time, she wanted to, and at that time, based on my relationships, training AAU teams and running around the country, my relationship across the street, the street committee and across the country and everything else as well. And I was like, all right, Coach, you want to win? She's like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's win. I was like, all right, come on, let's go win. And so when Mama called, I was like, all right, Coach, let's do it. And so that's great. And now, but you got to understand, of course, I was going to take it because she had the blueprint. So the first year, you remember, she left me my freshman year, right. But I only got a little bit of this, right? So I got an opportunity, unlike my other teammates, I got like my years back. Like, but they just don't have. I wasn't playing, but I got my years. I got my sophomore, junior, senior year back, learning from her and how it's done. And I don't think you could have beat that. And so going there with her and she's showing me the blueprint and how it looks. And I've never like that. She was so driven. Like I'm talking about, I don't think that lady slept. She'll call you at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, be like, hey, listen, you think about that screen, that go screen action? I need you to look at that. You be like, what? Like she was just amazing. Like she'll watch her game. She studied the game. She understood it. And I was just so impressed by her. Like if she could come like that every day, what's my excuse? So I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna go get you the best players. You know, you need some Nadines around here.
Coach, can you go ahead, EJ? Yeah.
Just so our audience follows who Mama was, okay? Because y'all may have missed who Mama was. When Mama called, that's C. Vivian Nadine, okay? That called her and said, I'm at Rutgers now. You're coming to Rutgers. So just in case y'all missed that, that's what just happened on that call. Go ahead, MH, man.
Yeah, like you talk about, Coach Stringer calls you. Like I said, she was the Dawn Staley of that time. Beautiful. You know, and she just don't get, and she was ours, right? She was our first of so many, right? Mm-hmm. So many, like broke down so many barriers and some doors that I don't think without her, I don't think we had the platform. And she did it the right way. Never cheated, never stepped outside the boundary. Now, what she was going to do is challenge you. What she was going to do is stretch you. And if you wanted to be average, you don't go to her because she wasn't going to allow you to be average. And you better not tell her your dreams or your secrets because she was going to push you and say, oh, that's what you want? Are you sure? Because when I do it, I'm going to take you there. And to watch her change a generation of coaches, right? And impact a generation of coaches. Like without her, there's no Dawn, there's no Neil Ivory, there's no Sharma Smith, there's no Nadine Domond. Because she started at a HBCU at Cheney. And then due to her daughter's circumstances and health, and they went to the largest teaching hospital because her daughter was sick. Iowa cared about her. And so she went there for her daughter, and she transformed that program and then turned around and went to Rutgers and did her thing. So for me, she was just one of the greatest to ever do it. And so I was like, all right, coach, let's do it.
And her coaching tree is ill, boy.
Yeah. Her tree is, and that's kind of what I wanted to get at was, coaching under a great like that. What was like your responsibilities, your role, and how it's going to make you better. But I'm sure there was some interesting times in that. Like how was just
absolutely, because you got to think about it. Jolette's at South Carolina, Jolette Law. You talk about all championship teams. Her fingerprints are all over. Jolette's at South Carolina. Tia Jackson, Karen Clayton at Duke, UCLA championship. Shannon Perry. You're talking about just the what she's been able to pour into young adults, right? And take those things and just transfer them. And our sisterhood is just amazing. So in those moments, I'm not gonna lie, was it always peachy and cream? No, but she taught you how to work through those tough moments, right? And she didn't allow you to make no excuses. Like everything she gave you, she never gave you anything. You earned everything that you got. Like I remember recruiting Diamond Johnson. That was probably one of the hardest jobs I ever did, right? And when she finally committed to Rutgers at that time, she was like, all right, okay. Now they can consider you being special. You got to get better. Now you up there with them. I was like, all right, okay. I just signed the top kid. But the way she was is like the expectations, like I knew you could do it. I know you're capable of doing it. She is going to challenge you. She is going to push you. But honestly, it has pushed me through tough times. And when I see her navigate through, like, you got to think about it. She lose her husband. Her daughter is sick with Mary Janice wasn't supposed to live. Her other son was in a coma. It's like it was just so much. And she kept continuing to show up every day. Yeah. I mean, it was just amazing to me. So, like, to me, it's like, so when I lost my mother, God rest her soul, I just thought about her. Like, she lost her mother, and she just keep coming. she never made no excuses. She kept being a pro. So she taught you how to be a pro. So I tell my kids all the time, whether you like it or not, you're going to leave here a pro. Because the pros show up regardless. And that's why we love the Kobe's. That's why we love the Michaels. That's why we love the people that show up, because a pro shows up regardless, because it's not based on emotion. It's based on the facts. Like, they get the job done. And so she taught us how to be pros every day.
I love that. All right, MH, we're going to continue on this, but we want to break it up really quick and jump. MH, you got those 3 and outs, quick hits?
Yeah, Coach, this is just some rapid fire kind of questions so our listeners can get to know you better. Work or play?
Both.
Okay. Love or friendship?
Both.
Okay. Money or happiness?
Happiness.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Morning or evening?
Morning.
Give me your most quotable movie you quote the most.
Man, so many. All my life. No, everybody use the color purple every time, right? All my life I had to fight.
No, Coach, you 1-on-1. We haven't got that. We haven't got the color purple yet. You 1-on-1 on that one. I love it though.
Yeah.
Physical strength or mental strength? Just 2 more.
Mental.
Love or basketball or the wood?
Love basketball.
Okay. And then shout out to your favorite teammate as a player.
My favorite teammate?
Sorry, I'm not trying to cause any controversy with any of your teammates. Just shout out to one.
I had a lot of good ones. I can't. I'm not even gonna put me. You're not gonna put me on that spot. Because I got to talk to these people later on. So that's what we doing now, Nadine. What are you talking about? I thought he just asked me a question. So I'm not even gonna do that. Yeah, you want to get potty, you want to get on the podcast, and now you want to announce. Now I'm all right. They all been my favorite.
I love it. All right. So now we're going to jump into the winner's circle. This is your platform, and pre-show we talked about what the platform you want to definitely talk about, what your new title is, but I want to give a little bit of a grace or kind of a transition. You were at Virginia before you moved here. Now you got to keep the color scheme.
I did. Next. Calm down. They play tonight, right? We play tonight.
Yeah, they do, but Coach, I don't want to give up a score. It's game 6, so
yeah, they playing for money. You know what I mean?
Stand up. I just want to move forward.
Just want to move forward.
Just take the next round. But yeah, so how did the transition go? What are you looking forward to? I think most. I think either in your press conferences, some of the material when we were preparing, you said kind of coming to Morgan State that you said, let's build a family. What does that mean to you, and what's that going to mean to your players?
I think, like I said, the blueprint with Coach Stringer, I think the family atmosphere, when you start playing for each other and believing in each other, things are just different. And let's talk about the Knicks alone. I'm going to just use the Knicks. I feel like they're a family. I think they're a good piece of gel, and they just play for each other. Any great team is a family. And one thing I saw a lot of it. If you believe in each other and you work hard and you go through the trenches, your teammates end up being in your weddings. You become godmoms to your kids. They show up when it matters. So I think the family atmosphere matters because of the sisterhood, because you go through some things and you're all fighting for one common goal, right? The agenda, right? To be champions on and off the court regardless. And I think that's what we want here at Morgan. But I mean, Virginia State was amazing, right? Dr. Abdullah and God rest her soul, Miss Peggy Davis for giving me an opportunity. Like, I left Rutgers and it was a dark time. I'm going to be honest, it was a very dark time. I lost my mom. I didn't think I was going to coach anymore. And Miss Davis, Miss Peggy Davis really gave me an opportunity to come to Virginia State and just found some footing, right, and some grounding. And just kind of let me and incubated me in that sense while I was developing and navigating through those waters. And I will forever be thankful forever be thankful for Virginia State and Miss Peggy Davis for giving me just another level or platform to perfect my craft while I was going through what I was going through. And so Dr. Abdullah, shout out to them every day. Like I will always give them respect. And now that, and even him giving me the blessings to come here, Dr. Abdullah in the program, giving me the opportunity to come to Morgan and do something special. I mean, that's what I love to do. I love building. I'm in the business of building. Everywhere I've been, I build. I love building. I love the process of building. I love putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I love putting all that division to come to life. And I think that's what I plan on coming to do here at Morgan.
So from Division II to Division I, and I know you've played and coached under all different types of levels. What are some things that you're expecting, or is there some new challenges that you're looking forward to as you continue to build the program?
Well, I think, I've been in the MEAC before because I was with Coach, with Hampton. So it's not like I haven't been to the MEAC. I think the CIAA and the MEAC similar in a lot of ways. So I don't think it's a big jump. I just think that, some kids get opportunities and some didn't. And, for me, it's just let's find the right fit and let's do something that has never been done. And I truly believe that, right? And so if we put on our hard hats every day, come to work and do the work, right? And I think one of my assistant coaches, he said this a long time ago, and I thought it was so cool. He was like, yo, don't avoid the work, the ABCs. Don't blame nobody and don't complain and don't compare. And with that being said, I think we try to keep and model that. Like, let's take care of business. Like, don't make no excuses and take care of business and let's handle business.
So how is the NIL world for an HBCU, or just kind of, digging into that right now? Like what is that?
Well, I think the schools that have it gonna have it. But I think the wonderful thing, I do and still believe that there's student athletes that still want to play for the love of the sport. I truly believe that. I truly believe that there's kids out there that want to play. Now, NIL, and let me tell y'all, because I think a lot of people get it confused. NILs and collectives are two different things. You know who gets NIL? Like Juju, Paige, Fawali, Flage, they Kelly, they are commercials. Like, they stop in practice to go shoot AT&T commercials, Collective is basically a pot of money that the university has and then decide to disperse it based on, on the student athlete and what sports get what and things like that. I think for us, if you want education, right, and you want an opportunity, and we just, and I do believe student athletes should get something. So don't think they shouldn't, right? Get something decent, not over the top. And if we could afford you, then, we should be able to give you something. Because I remember them nights in Iowa when you miss practice, the calf is open and closed, and you don't have no money. You like, Dad, so I get that, right? So I do believe that this is an opportunity for you to get what you can as a student athlete. But I also believe that there has to be some restraints, some control, because if not, us as a university, unless some things change, we will be playing I'm not trying to be funny, we'll be playing for the national championship for us. Because we're not going to be able to compete with the numbers and what they're doing, and it's going to be a separation. So I think they got to put some things in place so the playing field can be leveled, especially for HBCUs.
And I agree. And when you talk to, you just mentioned it, similar to the European style of your team kind of changes. I mean, we all play sports here, and we know how much of a relationship is built. A lot of reasons why you go to a university is about the relationship with your coaches and their staffs and the players and the campus and outside of the money and everything like that. So, I'm sure building relationships currently, how free everything is, it could be kind of challenging. Is there some standards that you always, principles that you always apply to your programs?
Oh, absolutely.
Those things? Yeah.
I think you stick to the core. You stick to who you are. You don't change up. I think it was when you, and there's a group of kids that's always going to change and go to what fits and fill their pockets, right? And you just got to ask yourself, are you for sale or not? And I'm looking for the kids that are not for sale. I'm looking for kids that want to be appreciated. I'm serious. I'm looking for kids. If you for sale, don't come to me because I can't buy you because you're going to be brought in the future. And this is all that stuff co-string, right? If you can be brought now, you will be brought later.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So kind of getting more to the basketball side of things. So Don Staley kind of really outlined and she shots out her highlighters, and more teams are bringing guys in to practice with them. Is that a new trend, or do you guys coach with the males, or like why do people do that, or is that kind of just
Stringer been doing that since the days of Cheney? That's nothing new.
Nice. So y'all gonna have y'all little roster spots to pick up.
We'll have our male practice. There's no different from what Coach Stringer been doing. She's been doing that since her day. But I'm not trying to disrespect anybody about getting theirs, okay? So I don't want nobody to think that. I just think that it's a group of student athletes that want an education. That, I tell the kid right now, let me make, these next 4 years, set up your next 40. Let me help you make money over the next 40 years. So, and that's the biggest difference.
Oh, go ahead.
And I mean, a lot of times those things can be made just from the principles that you just talked about. Just hearing what you're saying, and I know my own experience. I would not be where I'm at professionally if it wasn't for my DB coach. That was just real with me in college, right? It was just like, hey, you're gonna need to do it this way, and this way. And that made money, not then, but it made money for me down the line. So I think there's money to be had when you're with the right coach, with the right system, in the right place. Exactly. I think it can be done. But I 100%. Think I just don't want to. I think sometimes it can get lost. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, like, for me, I think there should be some things in place. You can only get 20%, put the rest in the 401k. it should be some things in place to protect these young adults. Because we were all young, you give me, I'm turned up, what I'm saying? I'm getting J's, I'm getting hair, I'm doing everything but being responsible. And even if I want to be responsible, it's all the new friends and the people around you that you got to watch out for. So I just think that it's just a different arena, a different landscape. And I think it's so important to surround yourself with good people that have your back. So speaking of different, and you mentioned it early as far as just the playing style of like, hey, we've been doing that. We just weren't allowed to do that in the game. How is that now as a coach? Are you like, man, I wish I could do that.
No, because you already knew, like, I could do that, so I could still, and it's like you got to feel good about, like, all right, that's nice, what I'm saying, and so you just remember when you was at the park or whatever, like, I used to do that, so it's just the ability to showcase that talent. Like, if I have a young lady that could do that, I'm gonna let her do it. I'm gonna let her dance. I'm gonna let her do what she loves to do. But I think it's also exciting basketball. It's fun. I think what I love the most about it is the support from the male side. I mean, you guys have been amazing in supporting women's basketball. There used to be a time I didn't think guys would have been like so comfortable. Like, you go in the shop and they having full-blown arguments about women basketball players, right? And you go anywhere. They going lit, like, yo, I'm gonna tell you, she'll take you right now, and the way it's been intertwined. And so I just think, like, the growth of it is beautiful. Where it's going is endless, and to see it just transform in front of my eyes has just been a beautiful thing.
And to give you your flowers as you was a part of it, all the way, from the Sacramento Monarchs, right? Like, even being a part of, the different legacies and how that's changed. So even though the Sac Monarchs are no longer around, they are starting to add other teams. Yeah. But we are seeing that, like, first round draft picks not making the teams now, What do you think that they could do? Because, adding the teams, right? We have a couple more teams coming. Portland, I think, was announced. There's some couple other teams that will help. But what do you tell a kid that's in this recent draft, right? So we have the Aces here that we let go one of our draft picks, the Valkyrie let go, of their first round draft pick. What do you tell them, or how do you kind of prepare them to have the tools to kind of, overcome that adversity?
I think one of the greatest stories you could talk about is Erica Wheeler. That was at Rutgers, right? Never got drafted, but kept chipping away. And so delay don't mean denied. You just got to continue and you got to believe in that dream and bet on yourself. You shoot that shot. Remember you said, yo, you're going to shoot your shot on yourself. You just got to continue to believe that that's where you belong. That's where you're supposed to be. And you just got to work and do all the hard work. And it does get dark. It does get gloomy. But I think Erica Wheeler, another Rutgers CVS kid, CVS strong, CVS tough. She just kept chipping away, and I look at her now, and now she's been in the league for so long. But it's so much talent, right? You're competing against the world on limited spots. You're competing against the world, like the best of the best. And so it's unfortunate, but hopefully more teams and more support. And as the game and it grows, we'll get more young adults that, young ladies that we get to see. But, you just got to keep believing in yourself. Erica Wheeler, every time I say that, Erica Wheeler.
And shout out to her. She won her All-Star MVP here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Here's where we jump into. We're wrapping it up here, Coach. We like to call this the assist. This is where you get to drop that dime. I know you was on the assist too, right? You was a scorer, but you was on the assist list back in your college days. But yeah, this is where you give us a quote, a word you would tell your younger self, or just something that you would share with the audience.
I'll be honest with you, I am so thankful God has given me this opportunity to be present, be where your feet are. I know that sounds corny, but you have to be present and you have to be where your feet are. And you don't make no complaints. You don't make no excuse. You play the hand that you dealt and you play it to win and believe that you're going to win. Like, honestly, everything that comes out my mouth when I say we going to do something, I believe it. I truly believe it. Like when I told our girls we're going to go to the NCAAs, when I told our girls, listen, we're going to do some amazing things, I really believed it. And it manifests. And I truly believe if you believe in something truly hard, all heart, go after it. Do not accept no. Like the word no means not now. Delay don't mean denied. And you just got to continue to chop and keep God first. I don't think I get where I'm at without him. Like really, like honestly, his grace, mercy, all that good stuff. And I know I don't want to sound real churchy, but I'm a walking miracle. Because a lot of people I grew up with didn't make it. A lot of people didn't come out where I came. And I'll never forget, like one of my friends growing up, childhood friends, he was like, "You the only one living your dream." And it was like 20 of us.
Wow.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You got to do everything you said you was going to do on that porch." And we didn't get a chance because some didn't get to live it. Some didn't get to live that long. Some made some poor choices due to circumstances and, based on emotions, And
Absolutely.
emotions sometimes are not facts, right? They're not facts.
Yeah. Wow.
And when he told me that, I was like, whoa. And so I always, when I do things, it's not just for me. It's for all the kids that believed in me, that they didn't get a chance to live their dream. So just super thankful.
Coach, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, EJ. No, that hit home for me, especially there, that last part. Particularly because my dad used to always tell me, keep your nose clean. We know in sports, you play with a lot of folks as kids, and sometimes just the natural pyramid of everything. If you eliminate yourself, you might not even get to the top of the pyramid just in sports. So, Coach, really appreciate your time. I know you on the East Coast, so thank you for hanging out with us late this evening, Coach. I can't wait to support you this season.
Thanks.
I'm going to hit you up when the Knicks go ahead and win this.
Yeah, we can watch the game together on the phone.
We link up. And then when I complain about Coach what they running, you can be like, hey, chill out. This is what they doing.
Let them do what they do.
Hey, just let Jalen do what he do. Just let Jalen do.
No, we appreciate you, Coach. We appreciate.
Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to Mr. Aaron for putting me on. Thank you, guys. I'd love to see you guys doing. I love seeing young men like yourself in this business, giving people like myself a voice. Super, super thankful. Thank you so very much.
And the blessings are reciprocal. Thank you so much for the time. Hey, we want to thank Coach, and we always want to thank you, the people, for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I was writing down so many notes, so I'm going to have to replay this. We're going to clip this up. So please, I hope you took some nuggets away from here, and just to follow your journey. Once again, I hope you enjoyed the show. You know, new shows drop every Thursday. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because as you know, visual representation matters. If you see it, you can be it. We're everywhere you listen to podcasts. And please, as we always say, stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Thank you, guys.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.